grandkids, then they're going to keep those in their adulthood. We do take a bunch of resources to the classrooms and to the parents whenever we do go out for financial literacy. So if you drop by our table, I have some interactive resources that you can do with your kids, your grandkids, nieces and nephews, and get creative. We'll teach them about savings, we'll teach them about how to budget, and we have plenty of other resources as well. So when we come into the classroom, we focus heavily on financial literacy. Yes, we're a bank, we're a credit union, which is just another form of financial institution. You have checking account, savings account, loans, you can get that anywhere, right? But we focus heavily on financial literacy when we're talking to these children. This is going to be the presentation that we would do for the upper teen years and the young adults. So we have two topics that we like to discuss with them, and the first one is the savings and checking accounts, and then the other one would be loans, if that is what the teacher or instructor is saying that that's what they want the kids to learn. So we do have 9 convenient locations all across the coastal bend, surrounding counties. These locations aren't just our only ones as well. We have partnerships with CCISD, so we have a couple branches inside Branch High School and Collegiate High School, and then we have branches as well inside of Gray, Veterans, and now Carroll. We don't publicly advertise that because it's for the teachers and the students there. But if you have loved ones that go to those schools, they can open accounts. If your young child goes to Branch or Collegiate, we have a special program with them where if they open their account and consistently deposit money and save up to $500 by the time they're a senior, not deposit $500 on their day that it's due, but save that consistent savings up to $500 by the time they're a senior, they graduate with a green cord. There's some other requirements that the teachers make sure that they fulfill, one of them being taking a financial literacy course. I go out there, I teach them everything that the teacher wants me to teach them, and that's just a very special partnership that we have with Branch and Collegiate High School. So my name is Jason Cavazos. I am the Community Engagement Partner at CoastLife Credit Union. That's just a fancy way of saying that I work in marketing. I started in 2017 as a teller, and then I moved my way up to financial service partner, which is the person that opens your accounts, does your loans, and then I had done marketing as a hobby for some friends in the past. So eventually when the position opened up, they said, hey, we want you, and now I'm in this role. What makes me so good in this role is because I have that teller experience, I have that financial services experience, I know how to talk about accounts, loans, speaking to this with children, because I've spoken to it with many different adults in their financial transactions, I know how to translate it into something that is understandable for them. Alright, so first thing we talk about is savings accounts. They're just type of deposit account. So now I'm going to talk about how I would talk to a student. So it's going to be very simplified, and this is so you'll understand how we're teaching them these things. So it's a type of deposit account. Deposit account is just any account where money's coming in, going out of. Now, savings accounts, not a lot of money's going to be coming out of it. You're really going to want money to be going into it. With these, as you save, banks pay you interest in order as a thank you for saving with them. So here's a fun trick. How banks and credit unions make money is when you save your money with them, they turn around and they loan that to people in the form of personal loans and car loans, and they make money off that interest. So to incentivize more deposits coming in, they give you interest for saving with them, and if you shop around, you'll find competitive interest rates. So we'll talk a little bit more about interest in a bit, but with the savings accounts, this is usually where you're not going to get your direct deposit from your check or anything like that. You're not going to have a debit card attached to it or anything like that. The savings account is where you put your money in there, you may have set a goal, and once you reach that goal, maybe you'll take the money out, or you're continuing saving for a longer period. Now, savings accounts, they allow you to keep your money in a safe place while it earns that small interest. Now, but these accounts sometimes require either a low minimum balance, like $25, or may require no balance at all. So shop around again. When you're looking at your first savings account, you you want to ask these questions. You want to ask, what's the minimum that I need to have in my account? What are my fees if I don't meet that minimum? There's different types of savings accounts. You can go to the next slide. All right, so we talked a little bit about interest. Now, with the interest though, so when you earn this interest, that interest is actually going to build interest on top of itself. So let's say you save $5, $10, $50, you're earning a few cents of interest. That doesn't sound like a lot at first. As time goes, you're earning more and more interest. So in your early 20s to 30s, you may earn a few cents of interest every period. 30s to 50s, you're probably going to earn a few dollars. But because you've been saving consistently, by the time you're in your mid-50s to 60s, you're earning a couple $100 every year just in interest alone, and that is just a reward for saving money. So the goal for interest is to make your money work for you. We go. All right. So whenever you're doing anything, do it with a plan. And here's a breakdown of how savings works if you plan it this way. So let's say you got your first job, and for your first job, you're going to get paid twice a week, or once every other week, that's twice a month, and you put some money in your account, and that adds up to $50 a month. You do that for 12 months, you earn $600, or you save $600 plus whatever interest you earn. Put it in context for you, $600 is a set of new tires. $600 is some phone repairs if you break your phone. Let's say you don't need to use that money, and you keep saving, and you do this for 5 years. You saved up $3,000 plus interest. Now, let's put that in context again, $3,000, let's say you lose your job. $3,000 pays about a month's worth of your bills and keeps food on the table while you search for a new job. But let's say you're an overachiever and you want to save more than $50 a month. You want to save $100, and you do that for 12 months. So you earn $1,200 plus interest. $1,200 is a down payment on a car. $1,200 is emergency car bill or medical emergency. $1,200 can get you pretty far. If you don't have to use that money and you keep saving and you do this for 5 years, you've saved $6,000 plus whatever interest that you earn. Now, let's say you lose your job. $6,000, that's at least 2 to 3 months worth of your bills, and that gives you an opportunity to not just take the next job that's available, but to search for the job that is right for you. So when you're saving, it's not just about growing the money you have, it's about emergencies that may come up. And one of the most important things about savings is that it's not something that you want to use immediately, but also don't expect to not use it. If an emergency comes up and you have that savings and you need to use that money, then use it. That's what it's there for. You can go to the next slide. All right, so these are the accounts that you'll hear more about throughout the rest of your life, and that's checking accounts. Checking accounts are deposit accounts, and again, deposit accounts are anything where money is going in, coming out. Except with checking accounts, a lot of money is going in and coming out. So for the most part, whenever you get your first job, or any job that you have, your direct deposit is going to be put into your checking account. If any of you are ages 11 or older, you can open your first checking account. You want a debit card, just get your parent on there with you. You can get a debit card as well. Now, with the checking account, this is, excuse me, I lost my place here real quick. All right, so checking accounts, they allow you to write checks. Y'all probably never have to write checks, but your parents, your grandparents probably wrote checks back in the day. This is how they paid things. You may still see one. Always important to learn how to write checks, but there's also another form of check called a cashier's check. You go to your financial institution, you say, hey, I want a cashier's check for this much. They take the money out of your account, they print it for you. You don't have to fill anything out, just turn it into wherever you need to turn it to. People use still cashier's checks or regular checks to pay the rent, to pay their car note. It's a way for them to keep track of their transactions. Now, also with checks, you're going to use your debit, or also with your checking accounts, you're going to have debit cards. Debit cards are tied directly to your checking account. So when you swipe that card, that money comes out of that checking account. Now, with debit cards, these, so how this works is every time you swipe that card, this is another way that financial institutions make money. Do you want to see it? Okay. This is another way that financial institutions make money. Every time you swipe that card, that wherever you swiped it at, whether it be Walmart, Whataburger, Taco Bell, they have to pay a small fee to whoever processes that debit card for them. It's called interchange. So the more you swipe your card, the more money you're making for your financial institution without you having to pay extra. But let's say you go to a locally owned restaurant and you see a sign that says cash transactions or debit card transactions have a $5 minimum, or save money now and pay in cash. It's because those places don't want to pay that interchange because it ends up costing them more money than they're really making. So remember that every time that you see that sign, and remember that every time that you swipe your debit card, you're making money for that financial institution. So what ends up happening is financial institutions are going to incentivize you for swiping your debit card. They're going to offer you rewards. They're going to offer you perks. And swiping your debit card is a billion-dollar business for financial institutions. So always shop around for that debit card that's going to get you some sort of perk. Now, we're going to tier this out here on levels of security. So with checks, those are the lowest level of security. Your account and routing number is right there on it. If someone gets your check, they can get directly into your account. With debit cards, they're a little bit higher on that level of security. With debit cards, if someone gets your card number or your expiration date, well, they still have to guess your zip code, and there's a 3-digit code on the back that's near impossible to guess, and they still have to figure that out as well. But that does happen sometimes. So no matter whether you use checks or debit cards, always check your online banking to make sure that any of those transactions are yours. Anything looks suspicious, immediately report it to your financial institution, even if it's $1. Because those dollar transactions that aren't yours, what ends up happening is fraudsters are testing out $1 or $2 here and there. Then when they're comfortable, they do $300. So debit cards are that second level of being secure, but the highest level of security is credit cards. And here's why. Credit cards aren't tied to your checking account. So every time you swipe your debit card, that money's coming directly from your checking. Every time you swipe a credit card, that money's just coming from a credit line that you have. If there's fraud on your credit card, it didn't directly affect what's in your bank account. Credit card companies are also very well known for being good with fraud and making sure that they're able to take care of those transactions should you notice them in a good amount of time. Don't notice them a year later and expect them to get refunded or anything like that, but a few weeks to a few months, and you report that fraud transaction to your credit card company, they'll help you out with that. Now, throughout your adult life, you'll probably use both debit and credit cards. Don't be afraid of them, just utilize them responsibly, which we'll talk about in another presentation later down the line. You go to the next slide. All right, so you want to make sure, no matter what you do, you shop for the right anything for you, whether it be a car loan, whether it be a personal loan, whether it be even a checking account. So some accounts, they charge recurring fees unless you meet specific relationship building requirements. And for the rest of your banking life, you're going to hear that term relationship building. Now, just like in life, in banking, there's such a thing as toxic relationships. And here's one example of that. So this account, which shall go unnamed, charges you a $10 fee each period, unless you can avoid this by having a $500 minimum daily balance, having a $500 or more in total qualifying direct deposits, or the primary account holder is ages 17 to 24 years old, or they have, and this was a college account that was linked to their checking account. So at your ages, being ages to 17 to 24, pretty easy. $500 more in qualifying direct deposits. If you're working almost anywhere, you're going to get that. So it's pretty easy to meet those requirements to avoid that $10 fee. But then there's an alternative. And this is, I use our team checking account at CoastLife Credit Union for this example, but if you go to almost any credit union, you will find that the majority of them are like this. So our RealTunes team checking account doesn't charge you any monthly fees. However, if you meet some minimum requirements that you should have been doing to begin with, then you're going to end up earning refunds on iTunes and Amazon's purchases. Then we have different rewards for these same types of qualifications, such as higher interest, cash back. But the qualifications are super easy. Have at least 10 debit card purchases, post and settle. 10 debit card purchases you'll find are pretty easy. That's eating out 10 times. I do that within the first few days. Be enrolled and log into internet banking. Remember, I said always check your account anyways. You want to make sure those transactions are yours. So you should have been doing that to begin with. And be enrolled to receive e-statements. When it comes again to security on your account, no matter where you go, always enroll in e-statements. That's paper that you're not enrolled in e-statements. That's paper that's just floating around through the mail that if it gets lost, your account information is on there. Otherwise, if you get e-statements, it goes directly to your email, safe and secure for you. You never really have to open them because no one really opens their statements unless they absolutely have to. So be enrolled in e-statements, check your internet banking, and use 10 debit cards, at least 10 debit card transactions at least once a month. Super easy. You're going to earn rewards. That is a much better alternative than having to meet requirements to not get charged a fee. So whenever we talk to these schools, we talk really heavily about the credit union difference. And that is the difference between banks and credit unions. How banks make money is mostly by fees. They're not really into loans. They'll do loans, but not for your average consumer. Again, how credit unions make money, it's those loans. That's really our bread and butter. Now, in return though, if you go to a bank, because you have all these fees end up paying for a lot of really good technology that banks have for you. So one example is, let's say you are at Wells Fargo and you want to send money across the world in seconds, you can do that easily. How often are you realistically going to do that though? At a credit union, if you wanted to send money across the world, it's going to take 3 to 5 business days. You're going to have to go in, sign some paperwork. It's not going to be the easiest transaction ever. But again, how often are you really going to have to do that? So whenever you're looking for the right account for you, decide if that technology at that bank is worth those monthly fees, as opposed to going to any credit union for most likely getting rewarded rather than feed.
They're being taxed.
I'm sorry?
They're being taxed or charged a fee.
Yeah. And that was the end. So now we get to win some money.
Woo-hoo, now we're talking.
So, yeah.
I think some of you need to go out and get Kona Ice right now. Increase my odds. It's be a great time to go outside and grab a snack.
All right. So at the end of each table, I put some worksheets. If y'all just take one, pass it down. There are also pens if anyone needs one. When I came into this role, our financial literacy at the schools was a very long-winded presentation that put people to sleep. And so I decided we needed to have some fun. Depending on the age range of who we're presenting financial literacy to, we have different games. This is going to be based on savings and understanding how much these items that these kids really want cost. So we're going to do 3 rounds, and it is going to be the Price is Right. We're going to tie this into goals, budgeting, and tracking spending. So we go to the next one.
Woo! I'm loving these items.
All right, so we have 3 types of goals. There's short-term goals, about less than a year, mid-term goals, 1 to 5 years, and long-term goals, this is anything over 5 years. So do the next slide, please. So again, you've been selected as a contestant on The Price is Right. Does anyone not know what The Price is Right is or have never seen it on TV? The game
It's still on air. It's still on the air.
Yes.
They came to Corpus.
Did it?
Yeah.
So refresher on the rules. We're going to show you the product. We're going to give you some product information on it, and y'all need to guess the price, get as close as possible without going over. Whoever gets as close as possible wins a prize. So if we can go to the next slide, please.
Without going over.
So round one is a CV hoverboard. I'm sure some of you have been asked by your kids for this before. Features include 2 LED front lights and flashing wheels, built-in wireless Bluetooth speakers, dual motors for the ultimate climbing ability, and equipped with smart operation system. It's easy to control and ride. So I'm gonna give you all about 30 seconds to a minute.
No cheating, no using phones,
don't
no
use your phones.
Googling.
The price actually did come up on the screen by accident, but we're gonna ignore that.
You had to be paying attention.
Yeah, you
Had to
gotta
be
pay
paying
attention.
attention.
So go ahead and write down your answer on the round one sheet.
Not gonna give us something to choose
So I will give you a hint. This is a short-term goal, so it'll be less than a year to save for, and it'll probably be under $300.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You
already wrote
it.
that.
Yeah, so I feel good.
And while y'all do that,
Do. Oh, that's the wrong show. Wrong show. Wrong show. That's the one I like. Jeopardy. I like the brain games.
It's probably going down, that's how much it was when I bought it for my kid. That's how much I had to pay when I bought it.
How long ago was it? A couple years ago? Probably.
Yeah, when I was a couple, when they first came out, they're probably cheaper now.
Just kick it out of the way. No, because I saw it.
Rebates.
that's where I'm gonna. How called it? Oh, it's up there. It's up there. Oh, so they just saw all of that we just put in. That's all right. I believe in y'all. I believe in y'all. Okay. Can you scoot forward to first round?
Yeah, it was a black screen.
It was black. One more. Okay.
Okay, does anyone not have their answer? All right, so you can go to the next slide. The price was $173.19.
I went over. I put $199.
Alright, so 199 and 200 and over, 121, 130. Did anyone get higher than 131? Without going over.
Woo!
$5.
This is your tank of gas coming over here. Let's go, 20 miles, right here.
So the hoverboard was a short-term goal. How do you save for a short-term goal? Obviously, ask to get paid for chores. These are for younger kids that we're speaking to. But let neighbors know you're for hire. A lot of the entrepreneurship talk was about finding your passion, finding what's good for you, and a lot of times that's going to make you money. And the last one is sell items or have a garage sale. These kids have so much just junk in their closet that's worth money that they need to know. Talk to your parents first before you sell anything, though. I don't want to get in trouble for that. So the most important thing whenever you are saving for a short-term goal is to track or start a savings account. Make sure you're putting that money in there and track your income on the mobile app. Always log into your app to see what your balance is. When you're saving that goal, you're going to write down how much you want to save, how long it should take you to save it, and that's how you're going to track the app. If you feel like you're not where you need to be, maybe you need to extend your goal. Maybe you need to save a little bit more each time.
That's the best thing you could have done with that mobile app.
All right, so the next round is an Air 2S drone quadcopter. Features include 5.4K flight video with hyperlapse and panorama, 6 low noise propellers, and up to 10 different maneuvers while keeping your subject center frame. So you're gonna guess the price without going over, and I'm gonna give you a hint. This is going to be a midterm goal, and it is going to be over $1,000.
What?
Okay, so can you go through those little items, kind of tell us what those all are doing?
So
That's all that asks.
5.4 K live video, or these items you're talking about. Okay, so this is the actual drone with the controller. These are the propellers, and then these are the attachments for them. Extra batteries, and then some charging utilities right here, and of course a case and some ports. You gotta go. 30 seconds. So this is gonna be a midterm goal. It's gonna be over 1,000.
And the midterm goals are, what's the length of time on midterm goals?
1 to 5 years.
Okay, all right. It's like this. I know, I'm trying to investigate. It's on dollar. Make it holla.
Does anyone not have their answer yet? Alright. So 11, 8, 9, 6, 7. What about you?
11, 20.
11, 20. Without going over.
I just looked at one of those the other day and it was 1,800.
Yeah, that's why I said 12.
Well, it wasn't the Air AES.
I was looking at the upgrade.
Yeah, you look at the baller version.
They trying to rip me off.
I know.
See what's going on.
Yep, compare it. Check it.
Yeah.
I know that's something real nice. Wow.
Yeah.
That do cost that.
All right, so this is a midterm goal. How do you set up for a midterm goal? Odds are, if you want something that's over $1,000 that your parents aren't buying for you, you're gonna have to enter the workforce.
That's right.
So set up.
I hope you're telling them that.
Yes. I'm teaching y'all the exact same way I tell these children. So whenever you start working, you're gonna get your paycheck. You're gonna want it direct deposited into your checking account, of course. But what you can do is set up $25 to $50 of every paycheck to go into your savings. What happens is you never see this money. You don't get used to this amount of this paycheck. So you'll see some adults that maybe do have some trouble with money. And what happened was they weren't taught to save first whenever they were younger. So when they've entered that workforce, they saw that check every payday. They were used to that money. And no matter how much more money that they made, they were so used to that money without saving first. So that went towards their bills that they had. That went towards necessities. And of no fault to their own, they just never saw the money with it being saved first. And this was their paycheck that was left over. So wherever you start working, always have something go to your savings, even if it's $25, even if it's $10. Now, when you're 30 and you're making way more than you were when you're 18, please start saving more than that.
How did you know?
So, right. Tips for saving for a midterm goal. Of course, make sure you have your savings account, but again, track that income on your mobile app. Track to make sure that your goal and your balance are where they need to be. If they're not, then you need to make some adjustments or make your goal longer. So we're gonna go to the last round.
Uh-oh.
Why? I'm so used to this. The VR game room. So it comes with the monitor, the actual handset that the kids are using with the VR goggles, and the computer. So it's a 2880 by 1700 resolution with LCD screens, LCD panels, that's this. 15 terabyte HDD storage, which is this. And then this is a 49-inch curved monitor. So the hint is, this is a long-term goal. This is something you can find in a few months. And this is going to be under 5,000.
Can we define what type of screen that is? That LG, that Samsung?
Yeah.
I want to say it's but I could be wrong. It might be.
Wait, did you just say everything is Alienware?
No, the monitor might be Alienware because I do remember that specifically from when we were doing
Y'all
research.
talk
about the
something
desktop.
you don't know.
The desktop, that one I don't.
Explain it.
And that's Oculus?
No, so this is a VR, it's an own separate brand, so it's not gonna be Oculus or Meta brand.
Now,
I think that's a third party.
excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
As long as it's not the
All
HoloLens.
of those specific questions,
You better get it right.
you need to tell, you need to tell us what the significance of those questions are.
Well-
So the brand determines how pricey it's gonna be. So now these things are a mix of brands, so that way the price isn't easy to guess.
Okay.
This is third party, this is most likely Alienware, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not the same brand as the other.
And it's under 5,000.
And it's under 5,000, it's gonna take y'all over 5 years to save for.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Alright. 30 seconds.
So when we do these for older adults, we like to change it up to maybe some luxury items like purses or things like that. So it's not always going to be something geared towards
Houses.
There is one with houses, but I've never got to do it yet.
You got 2 points. Yes.
That's all they want.
Does anyone not have their answer? All right, let's see who the winner is.
Come on, more money, more money, more money.
Oh!
I was 200.
35.
I have
Hey, put it up.
45.
Oh, damn, I worry about that. Sorry.
Oh, Lord.
Look, your sister gonna get it.
Without going over?
Oh, that's I was just saying the rest of the place.
45 You got it. Your sister give you a side item. She'll be like, I don't know if the future legend. I can't win.
All right, so this is going to be a long-term goal. Odds are, if you have this in your sights, you've been in the workforce, you've been saving money, and you probably have a little bit saved up already. So now you've got to step up your game a little bit on your savings, and we talked about interest earlier. So whenever you're saving for a long-term goal, you're going to have to take advantage of high-interest accounts. In the case of CoastLife Credit Union, we call ours a PIA, but you'll hear words like CD, money market. They're different types of accounts, but the gist of them is that you earn higher interest. So money markets and PIAs, you can take money in and put money out, take money out and put money in as much as you want. But again, for any type of savings, you're gonna want to put more money in than take it out. For CD, money stuck in there for however long that period is that you choose. And then when you decide to take it out, if you take it out early, there's going to be a penalty, or if you keep it for that full length of period, you've earned all that interest. Now, there are restrictions to get these started, so you probably need about 1,000 or so just to get a PIA or a money market started. It may even be higher depending on where you go. We talked about shopping for that right account for you. Same goes for anything that earns higher interest. But of course, the most important thing whenever you are saving for any goal, track your savings account on your mobile app. Make sure that your balance compared to your time frame for your goal is where it needs to be. If not, you need to make adjustments.
I missed the PIA. Is that personal investment account, like an IRA or?
Prime investment account is the phrase for it, and it's exclusive to CoastLife, but it's the same thing that you'll find. Money market is what they call it elsewhere. We just named it differently.
So with that, could you actually trade and like for a money market account, you're able to have a, if you want to be your own broker and also trade stocks, trade options and that, could you also trade an account? Do you have an account that you can trade as a broker with that? Or?
No, so when it comes to CoastLife, we keep a lot of our services really simple. Again, just so on the credit union front, we do a lot of givebacks in the form of higher yield dividends and lower interest loans. So you'll find that our more complicated accounts such as PIAs, business accounts like that, they're very basic just so we can service the community, but you're getting more value off of other products and services that we have.
Okay.
So one of our most famous products is our bonus checking account. I believe Navy Army has something very similar as well. So you earn a higher interest if you meet basic requirements of swiping your debit card, checking your mobile app and signing up for e-statements. Ours is 3.5% with a max of $10,000. So if you're at that point where you're saving and you feel like you need to earn more interest, you want to buy that game set, you want to buy that hoverboard, you can utilize the bonus checking account in order to get yourself there faster.
What was that percentage rate?
3.5% on balances up to $10,000.
Hey, what about over 25? Does it reduce the interest rate?
So the $10,000 was starting at 3.5%. After the 10,000, it goes back to the regular 0.5 or whatever. So what some people do is they diversify and they'll do the bonus plus the CD, or they have money else.
So how many months is this 3.5 good for?
So our bonus checking account is one of our services that does not go away. It's there to stay, and it's a regular checking account that earns that interest on those balances that you have your average daily balance. What some people do is they just have their 10,000 there plus whatever they use to pay their bills and whatnot, and that meets those 10 debit card transactions. But it's not something that you need to leave it there for so long or anything like that. It's just a regular checking account that earns a higher risk.
I have another question. Let's play how many people, how long you been with this timeline?
Garrett can't play this game though.
You win. Oh,
Yes, I do apologize.
I haven't been teaching that long.
Yes,
Yeah, I haven't been teaching that long.
Credit unions all, for the most part, work together. They were very helpful during our name change, and we love supporting them during theirs. I love their slogans right now. So, this one, if any of y'all know LaVon Spears from CoastLife Credit Union, this was a little spice from her. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. A famous quote by Benjamin Franklin. No matter what you do at CoastLife, or no matter what you do financially or anything in your life, always set a goal, always make a plan. Your plan's gonna go off the rails, but at least you had a plan, and that gives you a rough idea of where you are, where you need to be. And that is it.
That's
Where am I
awesome.
on time?
It's a good battery.
I know, but it's slow now. After all this. So now I need to charge it.
Okay.
Use the StreamYard.